It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 44. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is August 6th, 2023. What a great day to do a podcast about video games. Welcome to the show. Hello out there. Thank you for joining the show and listening, hopefully in real time so you can get this news right in your head really quick and get all the best information that you need so you can be a smart video gamer out there in the world. That's the plan. So welcome to the show. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you got a raise at your job. Hope you had some time off from that job. Hope you bought some video games. Hope you had some fun. Hope you had a nice dinner. Hope you hung out with some friends. Hope you hit the lottery. Hope a lot of great things happen to you. So welcome to the show here, episode 44. All right, so let's just get started with a few housekeeping things, and then we'll move along to all the good information. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more. My Buzzsprout page. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow to watch some streaming of video games. And then the patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the best place to support the show to the highest form if you'd like to join there. So patreon.com/DepLewisShow. So we got a great show for you today. And I, Dep Lewis Show, have a great show for you here today. And it's going to consist of 3 sections as always. The first section, what I've been playing, which we'll get into that in just a minute, what video games I've been playing over the past week. The mid section, we're going to smoke on a lot of mid. And we're going to talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape, the video game news, things like that. So we have a good bit of information in the midsection. You know, we always do. It's always really the best information. It's always the best, most important, most time-sensitive things you need to hear. You know, it's always exactly that. So that's what you got to come back for in this midsection. And then the third section of the show is the Miscellaneous Talk section. This is where I can talk about whatever I'd like outside of the video game world that I find of interest. So we're going to talk about a few things there. So, you know, you don't want to miss it. This is episode 44. I'm hearing it's going to be the best episode out there. Trying to think of other 44s. I have a friend, that's his house number, and it's his favorite number. And then Jay-Z has 444, that's an album. There is probably a few other things I'm thinking of, but Dirk Nowinski's 41, so I'm just really rambling here. But all right, this is a video game show, so let's get into some video game talk today. What have I been playing since last week? There hasn't been a whole lot of releases to talk about necessarily in the last week, so I've been playing, going through all the games of the year, whatever games are in my backlog, and I bet you've been doing the same as well. So last week I did not talk about this game, but I am back playing this game, and I am back playing it today, and that is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I took maybe a week off from making any progress in this, and I'm back playing it as of this weekend, so I've been playing a good bit of it actually. I'm over 7,007K in rupees, so I'm getting up there with my money. So I'm trying to find a way to spend it, and I want to buy some armor. So I've gone to the interwebs and I've looked up some guides on where to find the armor, and I've determined the first 2 I'm trying to focus on buying are the Gerudo Valley armor, which is the heat resistance wear that I can go in the desert and search there. So I think that'll be useful, and I can definitely afford that. And then I want to get the climbing armor, which I believe you find out in Hyrule somewhere in the world. So I'm trying to get those 2 down are my next kind of main objectives, but I'm having some trouble finding where to go in Gerudo Valley. And I think, I keep going from cold to hot to, the valley part, I guess, is where they are. And there's some curvy roads and, winding paths going through there. So I don't know exactly where I'm looking for. I'm looking for some type of shop on the outskirts of this town. And then I can't get into this town because I'm not I'm a guy. So I have to either dress up in something or I have to sneak through a tower, I've read. So I'm trying to figure it out. So that's what I've been doing today, and hopefully we'll be figuring out. But I'm having a lot of fun. I think I'm over the 60-hour mark on my playtimes, and I've really just been kind of meandering around a lot, but it's been very fun. I've been trying to get to the desert. Hopefully what I'll be talking to you next week about. But this game has been very fun. I've been doing a bunch of cooking. I've been finding a whole bunch of stuff, like overflow areas of like mighty bananas. I had a bunch of golden apples. I've just been really, really lucking up on finding some stuff to cook and sell. I've been having My guy Tulin has been, shooting some wild game with his bow, with his arrow, and I've just been walking up and picking up the raw meat, so it's been pretty awesome. So I need to spend some of this money on some armor, because that's what I want to do, but I should have some left over. So this game's been very fun. I keep saying very fun. That was my thing last podcast, but all right. You got to cut that out on the podcast notes. But this game also, I definitely have been collecting shrines. I've been doing that for a while, where I've been finding them on the map and not completing them. So I need to dedicate some time to going to complete some of those, so I can actually get some stamina or some hearts and up my game. So I need to do that at some point, but that is not the first thing I'm most inclined to do in this game. But I have a good backlog of those building up, so I need to do that as well. But this game, it's still tracking to be Game of the Year for 2023 for the Dep Lewis Show, and I've been having a great time with it. So I bet you're still playing it out there too. I know a lot of people keep talking about how they'll be playing this for a while. I know some people that are already done with it, but I think either way, it's a great game. I've basically been hearing most people, that was being very, very vague, but I feel like the general consensus is that this game is better than Breath of the Wild. So I just wonder if you agree. If you do not, DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Hit the email box up and let me know. I can bring your perspective to the great Dep Lewis Show. So I've been playing the Zelda, and the next game that I've been playing that I played earlier in the week, and I've been on for a few weeks, but I've actually slowed down on this at the end of the week. So I've been back into the Zelda, but I was playing some Resident Evil 4. So I've actually rescued Ashley Graham in that game. I've led her to safety, and she has the dreaded disease that is going to turn her into a monster or a zombie. Just like the guy that was helping us out. He has the same damn thing, Mr. Luis Serra. But now I'm trusting him, and I'm hanging out with Ashley, and she's got this ticking time bomb going with her, and it's just a great time for Leon to be doing his job out here and trying to do it to the best of his ability. So I was helping these two people out, and I had to defend the house, which was pretty cool, and that was pretty it was pretty heated in there, and there was a lot of enemies. I wasted 3 frags on one of the big skull guys, one of the big head skull guys. I just threw 3 frags at him, just being very scared. It was a top floor and a bottom floor to this house, and you start off on the bottom floor, and you're putting things up on the windows, but they're busting through, and they're coming through the other side, and they're coming down the stairs, and then you have to go upstairs, and they're coming from downstairs. It's just a wild ride, is what I want to say. But it was a lot of fun. I just kind of hit a snag on that game, but I think I'm about 1/3 of the way through. I hope to continue playing some more. And I looked up, there's 16 chapters in that game, so I think I've completed chapter 5. And I really just completed that section and took a breather on it, I guess is what I'm doing. So Resident Evil 4 Remake has been a great game. It's definitely going to make I would say it's definitely going to make my Game of the Year list. But I've just really been enjoying it, and I have plans to get back into it. I'm playing that on the Xbox, and I have just, all good things to say about that game. It's really, really fun. And the gunplay is really, really great. And the guns are fun. I've upgraded my pistol all the way. That's been really nice, and I'm enjoying a little bit of story. You're just rescuing the president's daughter. You get there, you notice that all this zombie outbreak is going on. You have a little bit of a time getting to the daughter, and then you find her, which is where I'm at now. And then you determine that she has the disease going on too, as well as the guy who's been helping you, who you don't really know, but he's actually helped you. So it's a really, really bad spot for Leon, but he's doing what he does, and hopefully going to be getting through this with getting Ashley home safely, and himself would be the thing. All right, so another game I've been playing, I think I could be wrapping up with this for now, but I've been playing the Pikmin 4 demo. I actually played some of it. I've been playing a good bit of this. I don't think I've hit the end of it. It lets you play through it's the second day, or collecting the 1500, whatever it looks like, Raritanium if you're playing Ratchet. But I played a good bit of this. The things I want to say about this, I wrote Ochi is really cool, so I like the dog side characters in this game. Captain Olimar has his dog side character that you start the game with in the tutorial section, and you're riding on the back of him, and then you get Ochi when you become your own player character that you get to create, and you get to pick out the colors, and it emulates the colors of your team out in the world, which is pretty cool. And this game is pretty relaxing. I just don't know if it hooks me all the way in the demo. It hooked me early on, and I just kept playing the demo, and I just don't know if I'm going to continue with it. It seems fun. all the graphics are cool and the characters are cool, and it just seems a little bit slow. It definitely starts a little slow in the early game, just tutorializing you about what's going on. But the Pikmin, this is basically walking around, determining how many Pikmin you need to grab something, and then waiting for them to go bring it back to your base. And then you're watching the countdown of the day and night cycle, because you want to have your Pikmin back home at the base before night, so they don't get murked, they don't die. And then you're also trying to move along and explore the whole level. So I think there was a lot of fun to be had there. It is a little more relaxing than I was thinking. I was thinking some of these things would be a little bit stressful, but it definitely is more fun than that. It's actually pretty relaxing, I would say, almost too relaxing. But the controls feel good. I was surprised by that. Just the overall, shooting the Pikmin, and you really do press 10. If you need 10, you press 10 on the, hit A 10 times, and it really does hit it pretty precisely, which is really, really cool. So, that's a whole part of this, is going to determine how many Pikmin you need to accomplish the mission or the task. So it needs 5, it needs 7, it needs 10, and you really got to strike those off real quick with your thumb there. So that's a nice little gameplay feature in a game that's gameplay light, because it's more about commanding and telling people what to do than actually performing the task yourself. But having Ochi rolling with you is really cool, because that's another element of something you're controlling always. And then your main character can, it feels okay moving him around. It really does. So that was surprising to me. This game, if it was ever on sale, I would possibly want to buy this. Or maybe I'll go back and play an old Pikmin game, because they're a little bit cheaper. Because I do like the general loop of this, the exploratory nature of it. It seems like I've also been hearing that Pikmin 4 might be the best entry to play to start with if you've never played. Like, it's really the best entry, they're saying. So I don't know. It's definitely on my radar. I just kind of put down the excitement of wanting to purchase it right away. So I'll keep it on my radar. It's seeming pretty fun. Definitely go play the demo. It seems like a worthwhile demo, and maybe I'll play some more of the demo. And possibly I will. So I'll keep you informed on the Pikmin. What have I seen? I've seen the red Pikmin and the blue Pikmin, so the ice Pikmin. Ochi is growing up, which is neat. So Ochi develops over the game, so that's nice that he actually one of the first night of the game, when you go to sleep, you wake up and Ochi's grown, so he can do a few extra things out there. And I guess he'll grow to a point where you can ride on his back at some point, which is neat too. And what else? There's underground areas in this game which are reminiscent of Zelda to me, of the depths. And then the Pokemon game, the Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, they have an underground area in those. It reminds me of that a little bit too. In the underground area, you don't have to worry about the time taking, which is very nice. So I think that definitely is one of the better features or better areas of the game that is fun to explore and something you'd be looking for. A lot of times in Zelda, I'm pretty scared of the wells and the depths, but I think going down there is almost a little bit like a sanctuary, because you're not worried about the time running out on the day and night. So pretty cool, pretty interesting. I like that concept. I don't know if time completely stands still down there. It might have said 1/6, but I really didn't notice any change. Maybe I noticed a little bit of a change now thinking. You can, I don't know. I don't know 100%, but I think it's a cool concept either way. And yeah, time doesn't move. I don't know. I think that's all the way true, but it seemed like it didn't move at all, but it did say 1/6, but maybe it was just something I didn't recognize, or maybe I didn't, stay down there enough to meet the 1/6 or whatever. But Pikmin 4, $59.99 on the Nintendo Switch. Go check out the demo now, or purchase the game if you'd like to. So I've also just been playing some random games this week. Just been getting back into some things. Just trying some games out, re-downloading some things. I've been playing some Stardew Valley. Not really enough to talk about it. I just listen to the soundtrack all the time. So I was like, man, I'm just going to start back a file in this game and play this, because I can, enjoy the game and hear the music at the same time and accomplish 2 missions at once. I've been back playing this some. I'll just keep you updated, as I do always on this show, what I'm playing during the week. So these aren't things I have a whole lot to update on. I played some Stardew Valley before, and I'm just, I restarted though recently with a new file, and I've been playing and enjoying it. And I've also been playing another old favorite, of Rocket League. I'm back on the Rocket League since I've been listening to some more music on Spotify. I'm back just playing Rocket League, listening to music, listening to a podcast, and Rocket League is a pretty classic and timeless game. So I've had many stints with this game, and I'm back playing it right now for a little bit. So I've been playing that. I've been back to playing, and what else have I been playing? I played a little bit of Elden Ring, just bumming around there, but I just kind of went back to Zelda real quick because they're both, similar styled games, just open world third person action, and I'm having a whole lot of fun with Zelda right now. So, maybe Elden Ring will be something I get back into later on. It's not going anywhere. So I've just really been, just playing all the great games of the world and, diving back into some old things and restarting and just, trying to have the most fun I can with these video games out here. So it's been a great week for video games. I don't have any particular plans for this upcoming week in playing games. I'm definitely going to see myself playing some more Zelda. I'm feeling a little bit hooked on the Zelda right now. So it could be a Zelda heavy week, and that would be nice. And there's no releases I'm trying to buy in this upcoming week. So it should just be another week to keep playing some things I already own. So that's a great time. And hopefully you'll play a lot of great games in this upcoming week too. Get ready for some of these releases that are upcoming, and get ready for some of the bigger games. We have Starfield is exactly a month away, I guess. I think it is September 6th. So that would be exactly a month away for listening in real time to get the Starfield. And then if you have Game Pass, all you have to do is hit install. So, that is a wonderful thing. You've already paid the money up front, or you can just pay for 1 month and you can play one of the most anticipated games of the year, and something I guess that's my most anticipated game of the year. Another one I was thinking of going back into was some Miles Morales Spider-Man on PS5 to get ready for the November release and the October release of Spider-Man 2. I've beaten Spider-Man 1. I never fully beat Miles Morales, so I was thinking of starting that up again, which could be fun. So, I'll keep you updated on this show as always. I'm just letting you know there's a lot of great games out there, so you can hear about them here, or you can go play them for yourself, or you can do both at the same damn time. You can listen to the show while playing some games, and I bet you're going to learn about another thing that you want to go check out. So that is the mission here. So thank you for listening to this first section of the show. We're going to take I'm going to quit saying we're. That's another note for my show. I'm going to be back in just a minute. You're going to hear some great music. So you can either take a break if you'd like to, or just, sit tight. You're going to come back from the midsection. We're going to talk about all the great video game news and content that I've been seeing out there in the world, the video game landscape, and tell you about it in the midsection. So, you don't want to go anywhere. This is where you're going to get the up-to-date, real-time information that you need. So come on back in just a second. Welcome back to the show. This is the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 44. And we're going to talk about all the things I'm seeing across the video game landscape that I think are interesting and I want you to hear about. So that is what we're going to talk about here. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is Pokemon Presents. A new one of those has been announced for Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. So that is 2 days away for listening in real time, so you don't want to miss that. This showcase should update fans on Scarlet and Violet DLC, Detective Pikachu Returns, and more. It will run for 35 minutes and are always fun. It's always great. There's always one thing in here that you want to hear about if you're a Pokemon fan, and there's usually multiple. So I'll be excited to hear about this. I still haven't jumped on the Scarlet and Violet train because of all the technical issues with that game, and the rest of it seemed really, really fun. I've looked up recently some rankings of best Pokemon games. A lot of people have it last or nowhere near the top, so that is not enticing to play it. I already own Pokemon Sword, and that's usually pretty high up there on the list, and they really like some of the older ones are usually the top dogs on the Pokemon. But this thing is going to talk about the DLC that's coming out, which is interesting because a lot of people are not happy with the base game, but they're releasing DLC. And then it's also going to talk about Detective Pikachu Returns, which is a successor or a sequel to the 3DS game and from the same series. And that's not something I've played before, but I'm a Pokemon Pikachu fan. I'm a fan of detectives, so I'm interested. So I really enjoy watching these. They're definitely fun, and I'll be checking it out on Tuesday, and I'll be telling you about it next week on the show. So if you don't want to watch it yourself, come back to this show next week and you can hear all about it. All right, so what else do we have here on the midsection? This is great news for a section of gamers. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, an action-adventure game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA. It's going to come to PS4 and Xbox One consoles after all. So it's coming to prior gen, which it was originally planned to just be on next-gen consoles or current gen. It was taking a harsh stand against older generations, saying, hey, this game is too too fully functional, too hardware taxing, and it needs the next gen. But hey, they've either scaled it back or they figured out how to make it work. They set the expectations low and they delivered, so that is probably a smart move, because I bet a lot of people are happy about this. I have a friend who will be happy about this, and their statement about this was, thanks to the strength of this legendary franchise and community demand, our development team has committed to bringing this Jedi experience to PS4 and Xbox One, said EA CEO Andrew Wilson. So I think this is a great play on their part, because they get to come out and say, thanks to the strength of this franchise, they make it sound like that's exactly doing what they wanted to do. And I don't know about the sales in this game, but I'd be interested to look that up myself, to see if this game has been selling very well. It's definitely been on sale. I've noticed some sales of this game recently and for a good while, so you've been able to get this game for the cheap. I haven't really heard too many outstanding things about this game other than that, it's pretty fun Star Wars lightsabering and that kind of thing. I've had some temptation to buy it, but I just haven't really heard anyone really banging the drum for this game. So I don't know if this is hey, this thing's been so successful, we really want to try to keep up in the success, or if this is, hey, this hasn't been so successful, let's try to grab some of these people from, a fan base that, possibly has a desire to play this, and we could charge them the, a full price game and dip back into the well some. So I don't know which one of those is. Maybe I should play this game for myself so I could determine the quality of that, based on my own opinion. But, I don't know. It's just interesting out there. But I think it's really good news if you haven't made the jump to new consoles yet. And I really think it's pretty viable time to not jump to a new console. Like, you can still play tons of things on your old console. There's still some games coming out to the old console. You're still getting this game on the old console. It's an example. It's not going to be happening, much more, but lots of indies are on the old console. Lots of old games are still fun. So, there is merit to all these things in the video game world these days. All right, so let's see what else they said about that. There's no firm date for the release on the last gen consoles, though, for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So that's still pending a release date. I don't know if we'll see it this year. I think maybe we would. It's only got a couple months left, but I would think early next year or later this year would be my guess. All right, some more news this week. This is a game I've never played, but is ever popular, and this was pretty interesting news. Final Fantasy XIV is coming to Xbox. It's been a 10-year-long journey, is what they were saying. This is a massive, popular online RPG, a 2010 MMORPG, developed and published by Square Enix, the original version of 14, and the second MMORPG in the Final Fantasy series. And what did they say? Wherever possible, we're planning to bring our games to Xbox for players around the world to enjoy. So the one article I read said, could we possibly, this was the more interesting part to me, the one article I read said, could we possibly get Final Fantasy Remake on Xbox one day? And they were saying, would it take 10 years? But, I think it is kind of strange how Final Fantasy 15 was on Xbox, but Final Fantasy 16 is not, so that's just some, exclusive deal. And then this, they haven't had Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox. I guess it's been on PlayStation, I guess. And they're finally bringing it to Xbox after 10 years. It's like, it is a little bit of a weird thing. I know some of these exclusive things are, you want to entice people to buy your console, but, I don't know. But, a lot of people, I guess, wanting to play this. I don't know if it's a thing that you can pick up 10 years down the road and just start now, or if you can jump your file over to Xbox, but it seemed like a pretty big deal, pretty big news. Very popular game, not something I've ever really played or thought about playing, but, if I see it there on my Xbox, maybe I'll poke around at it at some point. More news. Let's see what else we have this week in the mid-section. What kind of more mid do we have? Let's see. There's a book that's been released, and the author of this book was on a podcast I like. So Mr. Jordan Miner was on the Nextlander podcast last week, and he has a new book, and it actually has a foreword by the ever-popular and one of my favorites, Dan Reichert. And this is a video game history book. It's called Video Game of the Year, a year-by-year guide to the best, boldest, and most bizarre games of every year since 1977. So this was a great podcast for him to talk about himself and talk about this book and the purpose of it, and talk with the Nextlander guys and really get the scoop. And then they did some, just more of their normal podcast. But this book is breaking down the 40-year history of the world's most popular art form, which I thought that's an interesting statement, and one video game at a time. So he basically picks a game from every year to represent the year and talk about. And he also talks about there's a conundrum sometimes where, Zelda has been very popular in multiple years, but he kind of just picks the one he wants to talk about most, or it's not an exact science is what he was saying. So it's an interesting concept. He picks a game every year. He talks about it. He doesn't necessarily just pick the best-selling game from the year. He just kind of picks, every year is going to have a few, hopefully a handful of pretty impactful games. And so he has, that's what he's choosing from each year. And then he's building a book out around it. So you can either buy the physical version, which is a paperback, and it's $24. That's what's showing on Amazon. And then there's a Kindle version for $10. But I think you would really want to lean towards getting the paperback here so you can see the pictures and the visuals and things like that in this book. I'm surprised there is not a hardcover, but I guess I don't know if that's something you typically lead with if it's your first book, so I'm not sure. But the physical version seems the way to go here, so I'm a little bit enticed to get that myself. I think enticed is the word of the podcast. I think I keep saying that. But Jordan was on Nextlander, and this book seems really cool, so I wanted to bring it to your attention as well. I have it on my wish list, so it could be one of the books that I read towards my goal this year. I'm currently reading a Brandon Sanderson book, and I've been making some progress on that over the weekend too, but I'll tell you more about that in a future Miscellaneous Talk section once I finish the book, because that is where the book talk goes. But that is a video game book that has been released, so I wanted to talk about it in the midsection here this week on the Dep Lewis Show, episode 44. All right, so let's get into some speculation. And there's a lot of good speculation, it seems like 95% credible speculation. So it seems like there is some information out there about the Nintendo Switch follow-up. So all the speculation is saying the dev kits are out there. They're talking late 2024. I've been hearing both. Is it going to be an LED screen or an OLED screen? Maybe they'll have both options. Maybe it'll be a $50 difference between the two. It's going to have physical game cards is what's being rumored. Is it going to be the same kind of game cards from the Switch? I don't know. They're saying it seems like it will be a hybrid machine, so that's the same as the Switch, which I'm all for that. They are unsure about the backwards compatibility, so there's been, flipping and flopping on that out there in the rumor mill. I've heard people talk about, hey, this console could release with Metroid Prime 4. It could be kind of a dual Switch, new Switch release. And I've also heard about people speculating that there could be the new 3D Mario with this launch. And I'll be a fan of both of those things. Another theory I heard, just about just going through my notes here, they said, what about the possibility that we get the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remaster on the Switch, sometime next year to be the last hurrah for, before buying the new Switch. So it'll officially get, the biggest chunk of Zelda games on one platform that there's ever been. So I was listening to Nintendo Voice Chat talking about this and their discussion about the new Switch this week, and it was very interesting, and their perspective was very cool. So go check out, Nintendo Voice Chat as always. But I thought that was kind of a good idea, talking about their strategy of, what's Nintendo going to do next year if this really is the plan to get this new Switch out for the end of next year. So my kind of thoughts on the wish list on what I would want for a new Switch. I would want it just to be a Switch 2. I want it to be a hybrid console. I want you to be able to hook it up to the TV. I want you to be able to keep it play it handheld. I want it to have backwards compatibility. I want to be able to download the games that I purchased digitally on my Switch and play them on this new console day one. And I want I don't have any physical games at this moment, but if I bought a physical version, I want to be able to put it in there and play it and have it work. I want the OLED screen. Hopefully it just has a better battery life, maybe a little bit more of a form-fitting design or something. Maybe they figured something out, but it would be great just to have the same Joy-Cons. I don't mind about that. I don't know how, maybe they have some incremental upgrade to the Joy-Con that it's like when a new Xbox comes out, you get a new update to the controller. I wouldn't mind that, but you can still use the old ones. I think that would be smart. And I really I don't think they're going to have an issue with having games. I love the idea of a 3D Mario. I love the idea of Metroid Prime 4 because that's been long rumored, but I don't think the games is going to be an issue here. I think just having a more beefy, powerful Switch will be a great thing to keep this train going. I don't think they want to slow down the train of the Switch because it hasn't really slowed down too much. And I think if they can just upgrade the platform to have games to keep running on this and people be able to keep developing it, just keeping executing their same plan, I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. And I don't think they're going to fumble this. And I think that you should start saving your coin, and I'm going to start saving it as well to buy one of these and try to get one day one. But it seems like you'll be able to possibly play the game on the prior Switch. So this could be Nintendo's foray into the Xbox and PlayStation world, and I think that would be a great idea. So hopefully that's the way this is going. It's all been really cool to hear this speculation out there in the news, and I'll definitely keep you updated here on the Dep Lewis Show about all of those things week to week if I find some interesting information out there in the world. The last thing I want to talk about this week is just another kind of crossover thing that is something I like and playing in the video game world. So Bobby Lee, he's a comedian. He was on Steebee Weebee's YouTube channel playing Elden Ring, and it was very funny, so go watch that. So it's on Steebee Weebee's YouTube channel. It's titled Elden Ring Basic Gameplay Vlog with Bobby Lee. It came out 3 days ago. The video has about 112,000 views. It was very funny. It was just a video of Steebee recording Bobby on his phone, and Bobby sitting there at a desk playing Elden Ring, showing him how to play the game, some tips and things like that. So that actually had me, getting back into Elden Ring and just trying it a little bit, but I'm still on the Zelda train. But it was very interesting. It seems like Bobby's played this game. He said he was playing for 16 hours a day at some point. So he is really, really into it. He's told Steebee that if you like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, this is the perfect game for you to play. So that one really stuck in my mind, because I really do love Elder Scrolls, one of my favorite series ever. But this was just a funny video. It's not very high production value on recording the games, but I was thinking it was a cool example of someone just having a fun piece of content with some video games that wouldn't normally do it. So I think it was interesting, so go check it out and support those people. Alright, so that's going to wrap up the midsection of the show. We talked about a lot of great things from the video game landscape out there in the world. We have Pokemon Presents coming up on August 8th, 2023. We talked about Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to be released on the prior gen consoles. Final Fantasy XIV is coming to Xbox. Video game of the year, a year-by-year guide to the best, boldest, and most bizarre games from every year since 1977 is out now, a book by author Jordan Miner. There are a lot of Switch follow-up rumors, so late 2024 we could be seeing a new Nintendo console. And then Bobby Lee and Steebee Weebee are playing Elden Ring. Go check that out on Steebee Weebee's YouTube channel. So that is going to wrap up the mid-section of the show. We smoked all the mid for this week. We're going to come back for the final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section. We're going to talk about some comedy, and then we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. So please go take a quick break. I like to give you ideas of what to do during the break, so let's think about what I can say today. Go get a drink. Go reheat your coffee. Go light a candle. Go give your dog a treat. Go put some laundry in. Go make a grocery list. Or go do something more fun than that, and then come right back to the show and listen to this final section of episode 44 in just a few. Welcome back to the final section of the show, the Miscellaneous Talk section. We're going to start with some comedy talk and some recommendations. So one of my favorite podcast hosts, Mr. Matt McCusker, has a new special out on YouTube. It came out a couple of days ago and already had 512,000 views when I looked. It's on the Matt McCusker YouTube channel. It's 56 minutes in length, and it's titled The Speed of Light. So Matt is a co-host on the Matt and Shane Secret podcast. So he is a co-host with Shane Gillis. They do a podcast every week and have a Patreon, and their podcast is very funny. I listen to it every single week ever since I learned about it. So it's probably been a year. They've been going a lot longer than that, but I got into it. I think it was probably a year ago at this point. But I've been listening to them a lot. I really want to watch this special. There's been a lot of great specials out across Netflix and YouTube recently. So it's been a little bit different, where there's been a lot of things to watch. So you have to find the time to do it. So Matt McCusker is on my wish list right now. I'm sure I'm going to watch it before next week's show. So I will report back to you my thoughts on it when I do watch it. But I wanted to make you aware to go watch it yourself and go support Matt, because I'm sure it's very funny. I live in North Carolina, and he's coming to a venue close to me, I believe, in November. So I'm thinking I'm going to go try to see him in person too. So it'd be I can see all of his material that he's putting out there on wax. And then November I'll be seeing a whole bunch of new content. So that'd be really cool, and just a great incentive to interact with these great pieces of content. So some more comedy that I actually watched. Something I actually watched with my mom. she's a fan of comedy, and this was on YouTube, and we wanted to watch something, so this was Greg Warren's new comedy special, and I learned about Greg Warren just recently through Mark Norman and Sam Morrill's We Might Be Drunk podcast. He was a guest on there promoting this and just, doing a podcast with those guys. And I decided to go watch this because it's on YouTube, so I love that. And it's titled The Salesman, so it's on the Nate Land Entertainment channel. So Nate Bargatze is the executive producer of the special, I believe. So it has his stamp if you're a Nate Bargatze fan. This is a clean special, but it's funny throughout. This is something that I really just liked him on the podcast. It's on YouTube, so I went to watch it. It was a perfect setup to watch it, and it was very funny, and it was exceeded expectations. Was funnier than I thought. Had a ton of jokes in it. He has a very funny perspective, and it was hilarious. And I'd like to watch some more of his content. So the whole this came out 3 months ago, and it had around 658,000 views when I checked. So doing very well. And the just some more information on the special. This is what was written on YouTube and like the bylines. Greg Warren has spent the past 20 years in comedy clubs making Americans happy. Prior to that, he had a career with Procter & Gamble, spreading a different kind of joy, peanut butter. Greg Warren's The Salesman, a new comedy special from director Nate Bargatze, so that was where I got that information from earlier. Delivers an hour of delicious, clean comedy, so that's where I got that from too. That finds humor, so he is touting it as being clean. That finds humor in life's most mundane details, from a not-at-all unbiased breakdown of peanut butter brands to a deep dive on insurance cards, to the story of tricking Nikki Glaser in a Starbucks bathroom, which, that's a little misleading there, Mr. Greg. You're not in the bathroom with her. Make it sound a little more scandalous. He tricks her about a bathroom. That would be somebody really mad about that. But I thought that was funny that was worded like that. And then Greg finds the funny in the familiar, revealing there's no humor. Oh, that's not true. Revealing there's humor everywhere we look, even in a jar. So very funny special. It's free on YouTube. You have no reason not to go watch it. Watch it with your mom. That's how I enjoyed it, and she did too. So, that's not a recommendation. What can you do? All right, so into the world of sports. The best team in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers. I want to say to them that they should extend Brian Burns. Agent Zero needs a big bag of money on his doorstep. He needs to be with the Panthers for years to come, and I want to keep saying that every week until it happens. So that is that's like my pledge of allegiance to the Panthers, is what I want to say. Extend Brian Burns. And as a fan of the Panthers, I went to FanFest last week, so I was an official fan. It was only $5 to get in, so how about a deal for that? And the things I saw at FanFest, so it was like an hour of entertainment, or semi-entertainment. Walk around the stadium, get some food and drinks, and they had the band out there and dancers and things like that. And then you got to watch the team practice. So it was just a fun spectacle. I took my binoculars out there. I was really checking out these players, really seeing what they're doing, how much work they're putting in, who's looking good, and there was a lot of fun things going on. So it was fun. It was a good taste of Bank of America Stadium with the football. So I've never seen football in Bank of America Stadium. And let's see, the things I wrote that I liked. Burns had a Spidey visor, so he had a Spider-Man visor on that looked really, really cool, really nice. David Tepper was out there, Mr. Billionaire Owner. I saw him talking to Mr. Bozeman. And then I saw him talking to Shaq Thompson for forever, so that was interesting. Him and Shaq Thompson were having a long conversation in midfield. Miles Sanders and Hayden Hurst were looking impressive out there. Bryce Young is looking very smooth. I don't think he looks too small. JC's looking like a dog, and so is Chin. Xavier Woods and Von Bell looking down to business. Josh McCown seemed like he was doing a great job coaching. It was nice to see him. It's interesting to see a familiar face as one of our, from playing football as one of our coaches. Mr. Andy Dalton's hair out there looking red as ever. Matt Corral out there is looking good, so that was nice to see. Hopefully he can stick around on the roster and be this is the stupid line of football right now. If anything's shown you that you need more than one quarterback, just look at San Francisco from last year in the playoffs. But there is a kernel of truth there, so hey, looking at you, Matt Corral. Hecker was out there. Johnny Hecker, punter aficionado, Mr. Millionaire Punter, was out there at the beginning. Didn't even have his jersey on. Just having a great time, which was very fun to see. Mr. Eddie Pinheiro was out there too. Blackshear was looking good. Number 3, he was doing some special teams work, and he had some great flashes at running back last year, so I'm looking to him. Frankie Louvu looking strong. Ike Ekwonu out there gave a great speech at the beginning, so that was nice. Mr. CEO Ike. out there giving a speech to the fans, letting them know, setting the tone for practice. I think that was really impressive. Yeah, a really good, respectful nod to him that he was doing it. And then Derek Brown's out there looking like a mammoth, and he was leading the defensive tackle line, and that man is just gigantic. So I'm glad he is on the Panthers. So very, very fun. FanFest was cool, and there are some preseason games coming up at Bank of America soon, so I'm going to try to go to some of those. And the season will be here. I think it's like 36 days away or something like that, if you're listening in real time. So let's talk about the best team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves. What's happened since last week? Did they win at home last week against the Brewers? And they did. They won 8-6. That was a great way to close out the weekend. They lost to the Angels in Atlanta 4-1 on Monday. Charlie Morton was pitching against the Angels, who can be very, very good. The Braves played Tuesday versus the Angels in Atlanta and Wednesday versus the Angels in Atlanta. Let's see who. I didn't look at the results of those games. I think they ended up winning those two, but hey, I messed up on my notes this week. I don't have them handy, so we're not going to get into that. And then the Braves have been playing the Cubs this weekend, which has been a little bit of a struggle too. So the Braves lost the first two against the Cubs. The third game is against the Cubs today at 2 o'clock. So it's been interesting. All those games have been at 2. Dansby Swanson, it was his return. Not his return, but getting to see him play against his former team was nice. It's just interesting seeing Dansby. It's funny to see him on the Cubs. I have him in fantasy baseball, so it's nice to see him still being productive out there. So I'm still a fan. But it's just weird to see some of these guys, playing against the Braves when they're on a new team. And then next week the Braves are at the Pirates, and then at the Mets. And then I'm going to look up one thing while we're on the show here. I don't see why I can't. Hey, this is my show. This is the Dep Lewis Show, the best show you'll ever know. 2023. I just have to fill the airways here. So the Braves won Monday, or lost Monday to the Angels. Yeah, they won Tuesday and Wednesday. And Wednesday they won 12-5. So, the Angels, they need to back off. They came out hot earlier in the week, and then they flamed out when they really got the work from the Braves. So, that's how it goes. The Braves are doing great. I ran into an Orioles fan recently. I ran into a Giants fan. I have a friend who's a Rangers fan, and the Rangers won yesterday and the Braves lost, so he was happy. And a lot of great things going on out here. I've been watching a lot of baseball too, so it's been a great time of the year for some sports. All right, so that's going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section of the show. We talked about some comedy, so go check out Matt McCusker's special, The Speed of Light, on YouTube. Go check out Greg Warren's special on YouTube, The Salesman. Panthers need to extend Brian Burns, and the Braves are the best team in the universe. So thank you for listening to this show. You're the best listener in the universe. I really do appreciate any time that you listen to this show. Any week you listen, if you get any information from here that's helpful, then I'm happy. I want to tell you to do a few things again just to support this show. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a squirrel, tell a bird, tell a dog, tell a cat, tell a chicken, tell a rat. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That is open 24/7, 365. So slide on in with some emails. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the perfect hub for you to find the best place to listen to the show every week. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow if you want to see some streaming. Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the best place you can follow if you want to support the podcast in the highest way. It's $1 a month for the ground floor tier, general support tier for the show. Also get ad-free versions of Dep Lewis Show's off series and songs created by Dep Lewis Show. For the first 100 subscribers only, and the price will never change. You'll have access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. This is an investment for your entertainment future. And thank you for listening to the show every week. I strive to bring a great show to you and give you the best video game information week to week. That's the plan. The first section of this show, you're hearing my video game musings from the week, things I've been playing and into. The mid-section, I'm giving you real-time information. And the third section is just wild, whatever you want to talk about. So, that's a great way to describe the show to people when you're telling them about it. Saying, hey, you want to listen to this show? You're going to get some video game thoughts. You're going to get some video game news. And you're going to get some miscellaneous thoughts that might be interesting to you. So that's the plan for this show. Thank you for being the best listener ever. Please come back next week. This has been a great episode. This has been episode 44. And I'll be back next week for episode 45. See you then.